What is up guys, Paul James here. Welcome back to another video. So I put up a poll the other day asking if you guys would be interested to see how my first real estate property was doing. You know, like actually getting into the real numbers of what we're making on the property, or I guess not making potentially. And I can't say I'm surprised at all at the overwhelming number of you who were like, heck yeah, Paul, I wanna know exactly what you're making on this thing. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do in this video. In fact, I'm gonna take you into my payments and walk you through exactly what just this past month has looked like. But only if you destroy that like button right now for me. I'll also share with you in this video how you can get started doing this too, without even actually having to own your own property. Now, it's a little loophole that you can use, and there's actually people out there that do this. So it's really cool, and you can kind of stick around for that. Now, before we get into the actual numbers, I want to give you some details so that you understand exactly what this investment is and how we're leveraging it. And as far as the numbers go, I'll tell you right now, they're actually looking really good. I'm really impressed with them. In fact, this month, I couldn't have asked for a better turnout, and I'm extremely pleased with our first venture into real estate. Now, obviously, I own this house. I'm shooting this video in right now, but this is our home. You know, we live in it, and it's not something that we rent out or, you know, make any sort of passive income from. So this new second property that we bought is down in the Orlando, Florida area. And this month, we actually rented out every single night except for about 4 to 5 days, which actually surprisingly enough worked out perfectly because that leaves time for the housekeepers to come in and out and make sure like that the place is ready and in order for the next guest. And if you're wondering, we decided to do what's called short-term rental. And I'll explain why in a minute, but let me give you a little backstory of how we ended up with this property and how we were able to get it rented so quickly on our first try. So it's always been my dream to escape the harsh winters here in Wisconsin and go somewhere warmer for a few months like Florida. I remember telling Kari over and over again that this was going to happen, and at first I really don't think she believed just how serious I was. I mean, we'd hear about other people doing this kind of thing, but we didn't know anyone who was actually able to do it. And I guess anyone you really hear about doing this type of thing, they're usually like in their 60s and retired, and basically, you know, it took their whole life to accomplish such a feat. But back in 2015, we decided we were gonna basically test the waters with this idea. I mean, at this point, we really didn't even know if we would like living in Florida or being away from home that long. So it was really basically an idea at that point. And it was an idea that we really hadn't tested. So I started doing some research into what's called executive rentals in the Orlando area. There was a digital marketing event going on, and I figured, you know, we could kind of kill two birds with one stone. And it was a good excuse to actually go down to Florida to go to this event. Executive rentals, by the way, they're kind of like fully furnished apartments that you could rent for extended periods of time instead of just a couple of days like you would a hotel. So it's just kind of an alternative to a hotel. So we found a nice place right in the heart of Orlando in between the theme parks, and it was about 10 minutes away from this event that I was going to be going to. And we booked 21 nights there, and we decided to drive, which took about 2 to 3 days both ways. So basically, all said and done, it was like a month stay in total. Now, the long story short is that we absolutely fell in love with the lifestyle of going down to Florida for the winters for an extended period of time. Every winter after, from 2015 to 2019, we came back first for a month, and then the next time we went, it was like 2 months, and then pretty soon it was like, you know, 4 months out of the whole year, and we started renting full-blown houses to stay in. And that's when the big idea actually came to, like, why don't we just go and look at buying a house, because this short-term market was huge. You know, families were going down to Orlando to go to Disney World, and they were renting a house for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. So then February came around this year, and we found a killer deal on a property that we really liked in a nice gated resort community, just kind of like some of the ones we rented. But this thing was decked out with like a lazy river, mini arcade, you know, basically everything a vacationer would be looking for. So we had our realtor walk us through the property on FaceTime, and we decided to do something absolutely crazy. Now, I'm not saying I recommend this, but we had a lot of trust in our realtor. We had visited with her several times while we were down there. We had also seen the community several times too, but just not like the actual house. But yeah, we put in an offer on this house, basically sight unseen. And I kid you not, guys, it was one of the most nerve-wracking, but also most exciting things we had ever done. We negotiated really hard with the seller, and we ended up getting the property for about 55 grand less than what it's worth right now today. So we waited for the house to close, which was super fast. Basically, by the end of February, we were driving down there to stay in our very own house. And it was such an amazing feeling to actually own this property that we were coming to and finally not being the ones renting it like we had done in the past. So we stayed for 2 months, we fully furnished the place, and we were very careful about like finding good deals on furniture and making sure that they would withhold like the short-term rental market. And because of us having like so much experience of being renters for so long, you know, we kind of knew exactly what that looked like and what we needed. And although it was a lot of work, it was also a lot of fun getting this house set up for rental. You know, we still got to vacation, and you know, it was pretty hot during the day anyway. So we basically just worked during the day on the house in ice cold air conditioning, and then at night we'd go out and we'd have fun. So at the end of our stay, you know, we got this house fully set up for rental, and we headed back home to get it listed on all like these short-term rental sites like Airbnb, Vrbo, HomeAway. And that brings me to where we are right now and how we're doing with the house. So I'm gonna bring you in, I'm gonna let you see all of the numbers. I'm just blurred some of the stuff out so that we don't reveal private information. But this is a completely passive stream of income for us now that we have set up, and I'm gonna explain to you how that works. So from July 1st to July 16th, we had a guest staying in the home, and they paid us $4,058.38. Can you see now why we're doing short-term rental? It's obviously extremely profitable. So you might ask, why would someone pay so much money to rent this out for a couple weeks? Well, basically they're getting an entire house, and the house sleeps about 10 people. So think about that, like how much it would cost to rent a hotel for that long if you would rent it out for that many people. Honestly, it would be astronomical compared to this. So actually, when you think about it that way, this comes out to be a much better deal for a family that wants to come vacation down in Florida for 2 weeks. And also, we're able to charge rates like this because we're literally 8 minutes from Disney World. And then we also have all the amenities that they could ask for, like that lazy river. You know, this is like a paradise for them. When they're not at the park, they can chill at their own house with their own private pool, or go to enjoy the resort amenities that we have, like the hot tub and the swimming pool and stuff. So when you think about it like that, I mean, this is actually a pretty good deal for them. So basically, we had about 3 days in between, and then we had another guest checking in. This guest, they're staying right now from July 20th to July 28th at the time of filming this video. They paid a total of $2,304.38. Not bad at all, right? Again, let me remind you that this is all entirely passive income. I am exactly 1,300 miles away from this property, and since we have set it up, I haven't done a single thing to it. So for July, we are now at a total of $6,362.76 in revenue from this investment property. You're probably wondering what kind of things we have in place so that we're able to make this thing completely passive. So I'm gonna get into that with you and share that process that we've basically put in place to have this income generating property going, you know, and how we're able to basically do that. So first off, we had to hire what's called a property manager. So this is basically someone we can count on to watch over the house when we're not around. So if we don't have bookings, they'll go in, they'll flush the toilets and run the water every once in a while. You know, they'll take a quick stroll through, make sure things are all in order. Basically, they're there to handle everything, even like guest troubles while someone is staying in the home, you know, should anything come up. They are literally on call 24/7 just in case. We even had an issue where our drain line got plugged on the AC, and the property manager, they were there the same day cleaning it out, making sure it was running again, you know, just so we didn't have anything to worry about. Having this person in place is really critical in order to have your income property running smoothly. So you're probably thinking, how much does something like this cost? Well, it's actually cheaper than you might think. We pay $140 a month for this, but they definitely range in price. We got quotes that ranged all the way from $85 a month to $300 a month, but we kind of decided to go somewhere in the middle. So next up, we have Pest Control. That runs us about $25 a month. You know, you don't want a guest checking in and seeing like a bug on the ground. That's not a good start to a vacation. That actually happened to us when we rented once, and we honestly freaked out. So for $25 a month, it's a no-brainer and it's well worth it. And as I mentioned, we also have a private pool, which in Florida, I think I mentioned that anyways, but which in Florida is really nice to have because it gets hot. So it's a huge selling factor to rent your house out. So I found a pool company that charges $85 a month. They basically come once a week, and we were there for a while we were setting the home up. So we got to see exactly what they did, how they performed, and made sure they were a good fit. But they come out, they clean the pool, they adjust the chemicals. So it's literally always just ready to swim in at any time without having to worry about anything. And this is really convenient for us when we're there also because we don't have to worry about it. And then when we're away, I mean, it's passive income because we're not having to worry about it. Now, aside from that, you'd usually have random things like cable, internet, grass cutting, but all of that's included with our property because we pay an association fee. It's about $400 a month, but I think it's a pretty decent deal considering we never have to worry about any of that stuff. It includes the cable, it includes the internet, even includes daily trash pickup right outside the front door. And I mean, considering the amenities this place have, it's insane. It's worth it because it allows us to command premium prices for short-term rental, you know, that we otherwise wouldn't be able to get. So hopefully, I mean, this gives you kind of an idea of what a property like this can generate in terms of income and how exactly we set this thing up to be completely passive. Now, this is definitely not something I would recommend a beginner do. We were very nervous about jumping into this whole thing. You know, we bought the property sight unseen, and it's lucky it all worked out the way it did. You know, it was very risky. We also were nervous about whether we'd actually be able to make money with it. You know, we thought in the back of our mind, probably, because we had been down there, we knew it was a hot market and that we were familiar with the market, but there's always that doubt in the back of your mind, like, is it actually gonna work out? So we're super stoked that it's having the success that it's having with it, that we're having with it. And honestly, you know, we'd be stoked if we could just break even on the bills with it at the end of the year, because then it would basically be like a free winter home for us to vacation in, which would be excellent. And I mean, since we got a deal on the house, we have about 55 grand in equity in the home already. Should we ever decide we want to part ways with it, truthfully, that will probably grow over time as well. We'll probably make some money on it, which is awesome. So if you ever wanted to get into short-term rental yourself, but maybe you don't have like the means to buy your own property, there is still something that you could do, which is what I told you at the beginning of this video. So what you can do is you can rent a home and then rent it out by the day to vacationers, just like we're doing it. You basically have to rent a house, furnish it, and then market it so that it's appealing. But there's a big caveat here, and that is you really need to look over your lease before signing it if you're gonna rent a house out, because you wanna look for any clauses that would stop you from subleasing it. So look at the lease over, that would basically prohibit you from sub-renting it. And as long as you don't see that in there, you're golden. You can basically do the exact same thing we're doing. Now imagine if you rented a house for $1,500 a month, and then you furnished it, and then you rented it out by the day like we're doing for $4,000 a month maybe. You know, you get 2 to 3 families in there a month. It's possible. And there's people out there who actually do just this business model like that. But anyways, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video and the transparency I've shared with you into, I guess, my personal finances here on one of the things we're doing. If you're new here, make sure that you drop below and subscribe and tick the bell notification icon so that you get notified of my next video when I release it. I just wanted to provide some information for any of you who wondered or maybe were thinking about doing something similar to this. So now you kind of know what to expect and what you might get yourself into should you decide to go this route one day. So I hope it was helpful. Anyways, drop a like on this video if you haven't already, and comment below if you think this was a good investment. I think it was. But anyways, until next time, I will see you guys in another video. I am Paul James. Peace out.